Unleash the champion within.
All right, welcome back to a whole new episode of the Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show right here on Varsity Sports Nation. And no, you're not seeing things. I'm Dan LaForest. I am back co-hosting with my guys, filling in for the Big O, Ontavious McCullough. Guys, welcome back. Week 9, AJ Brooks, the certified dog. What's up, my guy?
What's up, Dan? How we doing tonight?
I feel good, man. I haven't been on in some time, and I'm ready to chop it up. Baylin Trujillo, the QB. What is up, Baylin? You've had a busy week.
Yeah, busy week, busy weekend, busy everything. It's been running and ripping and getting and traveling and everything, man, and ducking. So, yeah, it's been
ducking. You've been ducking, boy. You've been ducking.
Not only was I ducking, my team was losing the same night. So there was just Friday night was a long night for me. Didn't help that Miami lost. So, but yeah, no, it's glad that you're back on, Dan. This is always fun when you're here and you're the mediator to kind of keep things low key, man. So,
well, we'll try to keep things under control. I might turn it up just a little bit tonight. You know, there's some things that I've had built up frustration that I haven't been on in about 8 weeks. So, you know, I might bring a little bit of funk tonight, but we're going to see what happens. Guys, we had an interesting week 9. We start seeing like it's now that crunch time. We're starting to see how that playoff picture is starting to look like right now. We literally have 2 weeks, 2 more games. These seniors have 2 more games. A lot of them will never play football ever again. And, you know, it's just the harsh reality of what this thing looks like. You know, the 1% club, the 2% club is getting thinner and thinner. But so much emotions go into an end of a season because it's almost like you blink, man. And putting on that helmet for the first time for the season versus I may be taking this thing off for the last time. So much going in. We got some undefeated teams that everybody's talking about. We have some undefeated teams nobody's talking about. We had some great matchups in week 9. In week 9, week 10 is going to be insane, and we're going to talk about here. But here's the thing, guys. We're also going to be joined here in the second half of the show by the GOAT himself, Larry Bluestein, will be joining us. So we're going to have some fun tonight. Guys, I say we get right into it. Let's get right into the week 9, guys. And we had some big matchups. And let's start with Cocoa. Man, Cocoa Tigers taking on the Villages. The Villages have had so much momentum. Obviously, Cocoa has had a lot of growing to do this year, AJ. Tell me about this. 27-6. Cocoa comes back and shows why they're a state championship contender.
Absolutely. For the record, I did pick the Villages. So shout out and respect to Cocoa, showing that championship DNA. You look at the score, 27-6. Realistically, this game was won on the defense of Cocoa. O'Keefe's Battle had 2 crucial forced fumbles. While the Villages were driving in the red zone. So things could have looked a whole lot differently if they were able to punch in those 2 touchdowns. Jay Kennedy, the quarterback, went 20 for 28, 228 yards. Cavante Corbin, 9 receptions, 121 yards, and he also had a 93-yard kickoff return. So it wasn't as if Cocoa shut them down, but Cocoa made the critical plays when needed. Javion Scott, 21 carries, 201 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So Cocoa proved to be championship DNA at home, and they just showed everyone that 2A still goes through them, I guess.
Baylin, I don't think really anybody expected. Like, we knew Cocoa was going to host them. It was going to be in Cocoa. I don't think anybody expected this to be so one-sided, did they?
No, I mean, I didn't either. This is one of 3 games I lost this past Friday. This was the lightest of the 3 that I had to take. Franco, he's awesome, man. I know he lets us know when Cocoa wins and we don't pick against him. But he does it the good way. You know, he just kind of sends us the score and is like, guys, like, come on, man. We've been here. We've done this. I get it. But like to AJ's point, dude, I mean, the Villages were rolling. They're loaded with talent. They've got a guy, Corbin. I think he just got another offer this week. A big-time offer. So, like I said, Cocoa never really proved anything this year, to be honest with you. Their biggest win was Merritt Island. So it's I don't know. But, hey, they showed up, showed out. It's at home. It's hard to win in that environment. At the same time, Villages had to travel, a couple hours to go see Cocoa, and that's not an easy place to win. If you ever are there, I know AJ and I was there last year for the Norland game, but it's like dim, man. It's a unique environment, and so sometimes that could be intimidating. And Coco's proven that they win a lot there. So great job to Cocoa, and shout out to Snyder and Franco for locking these guys in and getting a big-time win against an undefeated opponent coming into this matchup. So great job to Cocoa.
Hey, Dan, real quick, Franco did shout you out, too. Franco said he wanted to see you this weekend. What a coincidence.
Yeah, he got his wishes for sure. You win, you get what you want.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, again, I think it just comes down to the fact that championship programs sometimes struggle, but championship programs show up when they needed to. And again, which Coach Pettis has done with the Villages this year, their brand new facility, and a lot of the kids that are coming to play there now. I mean, that program is going to be continue to be on that watch list. All right, guys, East River goes into South Lake, and the Eagles, man, the Eagles have been on a roll. We've been talking about South Lake Eagles all year long. Eastridge now has dropped their second straight after being undefeated, 49-35, Baylin.
Yeah, we called this. Honestly, I was with Will Jackson and his family in Camden County Friday night watching the Miami game. That's obviously I went with him to the Georgia game the next day, but talking with them, they're so close with some of the players at Eastridge, specifically the quarterback over there. And I know he doesn't really like my picks. And so while this game was going on, it was 35-21 Eastridge. And I know Will Jackson's mom made a comment like, hey, you're about to hear from him on social media because he's been waiting to prove you wrong. Well, that's 2 weeks in a row where he tried to throw me under the bus on social media. And 2 weeks in a row, Eastridge has lost in the 2 times I picked against them. So shout out to South Lake. I thought they lost the game. Then I woke up and realized they won because my boy AJ Brooks texted me and was like, yeah, actually South Lake won. I'm like, what? So thank goodness, because I probably would have gotten it again. But yeah, South Lake, man, they're winning when it matters. Trey Kelly's playing really good. Eastridge is still a really good football team. 6-2 is probably met or exceeded expectations over there. But, South Lake, I believe that they're really running Lake County, and they're showing every single week why they've been dominant. I mean, I believe they beat a good Tavares team. So, this is not like a South Lake team that's just breezing through. They're winning. So, great job to Coach Lord and having those guys motivated.
Yeah, no doubt. And the thing is, Coach Lord took over a team that was 0-10. So, to see that program continue to grow under his tutorship and really to see some success. But also, you got to give a lot of credit to Dottie Birchfield and what he's done over at Eastridge. AJ and I were out there 2 weeks ago to watch them play DP, and he was like, "Dude, I got my entire offense coming back next year." So still a very young group, but again, it's about building momentum and building that type of culture where you're going to start seeing wins on a regular basis. All right, guys, let's move on. Ocoee drops to Winter Park 39. Did I get you on the last one, AJ?
Yeah, it's all good, but I just want to point out with South Lake Eastridge, Duke Brown, sophomore receiver, he had 4 catches, 215 yards, and 3 touchdowns. When I say this kid is one of the most dynamic athletes in the state, his route running.
Wasn't he like a youth sensation too?
Yes.
Orlando, and
he's been that guy. His route running is already at a collegiate level as a sophomore.
As a sophomore, and I think that's the key point. Out, he's a Florida State commit as a sophomore, but the fact is he's a sophomore.
That's the other Duke. That's Duke Garrison. So they were somewhat able to contain Duke Garrison. He only had 2 catches for 60 yards. But yeah, shout out to Coach Lord. He made the coaching change at halftime and put Bam Bam McKinnon on Duke. And according to everything, he held Duke without any receptions in the second half. So that proved to be a very pivotal coaching change. And so shout out to South Lake. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say, though, man.
All right, AJ, let's talk about this one. Winter Park takes out Ocoee 39-28. Ocoee, they've been battling a lot of injuries, but we see Winter Park getting better and better every week. And talking about a dude, man, Aiden Pouncey just seems to do everything. Offense, defense, special teams for the Winter Park Wildcats, AJ.
Yeah, when I looked at this, I wasn't sure if the stat line was correct, but Aiden Pouncey, like you mentioned, 10 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. He also had 8 receptions, 134 yards and a touchdown. But realistically, it looked like it came down to, honestly, a game of turnovers. Okoye had one too many turnovers, and it proved to be costly for them. As they lost this ball game by 2 scores. So Okoye is a very good team, but like you said, Winter Park is just getting better and better as the season goes on. So I thought they would win this ball game, and a good win by Winter Park.
You know, Baylin, one of the guys that I think has to be pointed out here because you've trained him, Tyson Davison, one of the most dynamic athletes that's probably under-recruited because he is committed to the quarterback position. But, you know, he ran for over 150 yards in this game. But really, the passing game did not get started for Okoye at all.
Yeah, but it became too predictable when they were going to pass. I watched this whole game. You know, I helped Tyson with his huddle stuff and watching the whole game because I had to see it. This was my second game that I lost. And, Winter Park let me have it for sure, as they should. But I believe Okoye had the talent to compete not only in this game but to win. They were 5-2 coming into this matchup. But they really did a great job of isolating Tyson. Even though he did go off in the run game, he threw in 3 interceptions. So it really became a game of, isolating the perimeter for him to stay in the pocket and start throwing the ball. And I felt like it was way too obvious watching the game when Okoye was to throw, which helped Winter Park make big plays. Now, Okoye was winning in the fourth quarter, and then Aiden Pouncey made one of the craziest special teams touchdowns to set this game completely apart, going all momentum Winter Park way. So great job to Aiden Pouncey. He's obviously the difference maker in this football game. He's an exceptional talent going to Notre Dame. But Okoye was right there, even with all the turnovers. They had an opportunity to seal the game fourth quarter with a long drive. They didn't do it. Resulted in a touchdown and a punt return, and then turnover on downs, another interception. So, yeah, it was just tough, man, watching Tyson go through that. It's frustrating, especially training Tyson. You guys know Tyson. All you guys work with him. Just to see him put in an isolated box with so much talent, that really hurt them in this game, and Winter Park capitalized, and that's why they won this game. And, again, I said last week, I think Winter Park is the best 4-4 or 3-4, whatever, football team in Central Florida. They've competed in every game they played. They're always right there. They just sometimes don't get enough. Yeah, the only one was obviously Jones. They got smacked. But other than that, they've been really competitive. And it's good to see Winter Park, get on the rise.
TFA, the best 4-4 team in Central Florida.
That's true. I forgot. Yeah, you.
There's a lot of truth to that one. That's
another topic.
Not anybody, but
another topic.
All right, guys, let's move on here. How about Lake Nona taking out Timber Creek 48-8? AJ.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Lake Nona is a very, very good ball club. I like what Coach Aubrey and the crew are doing over there. They have All-American Charles Woodson Jr. Holding down on the defensive end. I expect Lake Nona to be in the playoffs this year. So, yeah, I'm not surprised by this victory at all. So, yeah, shout out to Coach Aubrey and the boys over at Lake Nona.
Baylin?
Yeah, man. Shout out to my wife who made a video for them for homecoming. I don't know if you guys saw that on Twitter. She gave a little shout out to Lake Nona. They did like some type of alumni thing, and she was a part of that. So that was really cool. But yeah, I think the quarterback change was a massive upgrade for Lake Nona the last couple of weeks. They put in our guy Luke, who plays safety naturally. He came in and he is lighting it up. This was a massive game changer for Lake Nona and their offense. Now they're scoring points, not relying so much on their complete solid defense, but now they're able to, complement that with great offensive play from Luke. If you're watching some of these throws, granted it is Timber Creek, but the kid's still making elite throws at safety. He's only trained with me like twice. So this kid is really going into this position and taking it full throttle. And this is very big for them going into the last half of their season, because if they win out, they possibly can be in the playoffs. So this is a massive change for Lake Nona and what they're doing to help them prepare for hopefully the next phase of their season. So this is a big job.
Zero? That's Zero? Luke, he at the quarterback now?
Yeah, yes, Luke. Yeah, yeah. He's a dude. Luke Cramsey, he's an absolute stud. So, that's a game changer for sure.
13 for 16, 240, 4 touchdowns, no picks. That boy had him on day.
a day. Yes, sir. So, yeah, great job. Aubrey's doing something right, but there's a little formula that Aubrey got. I actually got with him, and he's learning. I taught him an indie period, so he's doing it with their quarterbacks the last 2 weeks, and they come out victorious in both games. So I love Aubrey. He's one of my best friends. He lets me use their facilities for trainings on Saturdays, so I'm going to hook him up with some secret sauce, and it's coming to life. That's for sure.
I tell you what, I like what Reggie Cox and the staff is doing over at Timber Creek. Obviously, they took over from Jimmy Buckridge. They got a dude too. I've been really taking an eye look is Trace Johnson, defensive end, is going to be an upcoming star. But again, this is playoff time. This is where the stretch is. This is how you finish your season. And Lake Nona is definitely on track. All right, guys. TFA, we talked about them. They lose a heartbreakers to St. James Performance Academy out of Virginia. TFA guys was up about 24, 26 points at what time?
40,
and
16.
Really, this was a heartbreaker for the coaches, the players, and the fans. AJ, I'm gonna start with you on this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I picked TFA in this ball game. I thought that they had enough talent to compete with St. James Performance Academy, which they did. At one point, they were up 24-0. At another point, they were up 40-16 or something of that nature.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened, man. I mean, I'm just surprised. I know Brian Dillard had a very good game. In my honest opinion, I believe that he has been the best player for them week in and week out. Like, I think that Brian Dillard offensively, he's been special, and you can't take nothing away from him. He was 7 for 11. 116 yards passing, 15 carries, 159 yards rushing. He had a
98-yard run. Yeah. So
98-yard run. And when you watch it, he drops back and he scrambles to the right. He's almost out of the back of the end zone from the view that I saw, cuts back all across field. I mean, I think he's a dynamic athlete.
It was heartbreaking to watch him get tackled at the one.
Yeah. Like, man, I couldn't believe he didn't score, but I don't know. Brian Williams also had a great game, 7 catches, 93 yards and a touchdown, but I still don't know how they lost by 1 point.
Yeah, not to mention Danny Odom had a safety and 2 interceptions. Devin Jackson had an interception, played lights out. Again, I talked to Coach Moffitt about this. They are literally, I think it was 18 points away from being undefeated this year. So everything's been tight. They lose a heartbreaker here. The officiating was a little questionable. There were penalties everywhere. It was just like I said. I think the whole stadium was just in shock at the end of this game. They had an opportunity to come back with the last drive. To at least get in field goal range and try to win this game. It just seems like nothing was going their way there in the second half. But that's part of the game. You got to give credit to a program that comes out of the box and goes on a national schedule. So, like I said, best forward 4 team. There's no question about it. Yeah. All right, guys, let's get right in.
Let me talk about TFA. You guys,
I was doing you a favor.
Because of this game, I'm still 1 behind AJ. So thank goodness for this comeback. Even though obviously we want the hometown team to win, but I just picked them because they're a good football team. What's up, Grayson? You want to say something about TFA? Everybody has something to say about TFA. But anyways, you want to play for TFA? Oh, don't worry, you'll probably do that too. But anyways, Grayson, hold on, buddy. So anyways, yeah, thank goodness for St. James for the predictions. But yeah, I don't know how they came back. I mean, you're winning that big. I still don't understand. So I have to watch this game because it doesn't make sense to me. If I have that lead and I have a team like TFA, I'm not losing. So there's something that happened. This is the second game they were up double digits, dang near 3 touchdown scores, and they've let a team come back at home and lose. So when you have that much talent on the field, there's no excuse for that. I have to see it, but clearly they're up 40-16. They're clearly the better team. I have to see it for myself. I heard there was about 3 or 4 picks or something like that helped, but yeah, there's no excuse, man. I got to see the film.
Yeah, like I said, we keep talking about Brian Dillard. He made plays when plays weren't there, and he's one of the most dynamic athletes that I've seen on the field this year. All right, guys, let's get right into it. Bishop Moore takes care of business, knocks out Tavares 54-33, Baylin.
Yeah, dude. Bishop Moore, yeah, they're putting up massive points, dude. Look, dude, I thought this Lake Mary game in a couple weeks was going to be crazy. Dude, Bishop Moore is on. I just wish we could see Bishop Moore Edgewater again. I would love to see that matchup. But
especially at this point in the season.
Yeah, but let's talk about this game. I mean, dude, Tavares is a good football team. I mean, but you're talking about that team off of Edgewater Drive. Yeah, you can forget about it.
But AJ, I was looking at stats this week.
Uh-huh.
Do you know who the leading rusher in Central Florida is?
Amari Johnson.
It's Amari Johnson.
Yep.
I tell you what, he's had an outstanding season. He has been what we knew he would be for the Hornets this year, which is the stability in that offense. And he has produced outstanding opportunity for them to center their offense around him as a running back.
Yeah. Coach Hedrick texted me earlier this week, and coincidentally, he asked me if I remembered my senior stats. And that's what made me do some research on Amari Johnson's stats. And I said, dang, this boy having a great year. Already has 20 touchdowns. He's balling. Blake, the quarterback, he went 19 for 26, 338 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did throw 2 interceptions, but like you mentioned, Amari Johnson is able to just stabilize things. When you're able to get 25 carries, 156 yards, and 4 touchdowns out of your running back, that's always going to help the passing game. Kenyon Austin, Illinois commit, had 6 catches for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's always going to help the passing game as well. And he's a mismatch problem at 6'2.5", 6'3". That's a hard receiver to guard in high school. But I do want to shout out to Tavares running back Tamari Collins. This young man, last week he had 5 touchdowns and over 300 yards or something of that nature. Against Bishop Moore, he had 27 carries, 278 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So he's a game player. But shout out to Bishop Moore. Like I always say, you don't want to play those teams on Edgewater Drive right now. They are absolutely rolling.
Baylin?
Yep.
He talked about this. It's all right.
Yeah, I talked about it.
It's Dan first show in like 8 weeks.
I am, dude. My mind's scrambled right now.
Yeah, it's all right, Dan. Baylin already. Yep.
All right, this is the game we talked about last week. You guys really put a lot of emphasis on the Edgewater takes care of DP 35-6. Baylin.
Yep, called it. I try to show some love to DP, talking about the coaching staff and our relationships, but Edgewater is absolutely rolling. I think AJ said it best the last several weeks. You don't want to see any of those two teams in the same area right now, and I'm convinced, man. Especially watching how good NFL Academy has been on the road at IMG, and then obviously St. Thomas taking that trip to London and being very competitive, only losing by 3. Yeah, dude, Edgewater put them boys in a box, beat them 41-7. Dude, I think Edgewater could possibly be one of the top 10 teams in the entire state of Florida, even though they have a pretty good schedule, favorable schedule. They're the real deal, and they completely spanked Dr. Phillips.
AJ.
Yeah, when we went and saw Dr. Phillips against East Ridge, I just noticed the size of some of the skill players for Dr. Phillips, the safeties and the linebackers, and that was a little alarming to me, and I knew that Edgewater would take advantage of that. Damian Moore, running back. You have a 200-pound running back in high school. That's a big guy to tackle. And he proved to be the difference maker, having 123 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. Michael McClendon had 5.5 TFLs, 1.5 sacks. So it looked like he's getting his motor back, coming back from injury. But I just think that Edgewater, they can beat you in a variety of ways. So if they have to beat you passing, then they will. But this wasn't one of those games. This was a game where we'll keep it on the ground and pretty much punch DP in the mouth, and that's what they did.
You guys really think about this. One of the oldest rivalry in Central Florida is the Battle of the Barrel. We could be looking at Edgewater and Boone undefeated in 2 weeks. Boone.
That's Bishop Mo Lake Mary, man. How I'm gonna be in 2 places at one time, Dan?
But we're going to Boone Edgewater, bro.
I know we have to. We have to. There's no choice.
And Bishop Moore Lake Mary is going to be live right here on Varsity Sports Nation to keep
so
in
you can
mind.
tune in on your phone.
We'll tune in.
You're gonna have to be
Edgewater
very,
Boone is
very,
going to be
yeah.
good.
So
You
guys,
talk about a fan base. Yeah, wait till you see that game. That's going to be crazy.
All right, now we're going to get to the game everybody's been wanting to hear about. How about the Evans Trojans going into Lake Mary, winning this game 40-14? AJ, I'm going to give you the floor on this.
Yeah, man. I was at this ball game and live in effect. Evans proved what I knew, what was true. They are the real deal. They came and scored on the first possession. Ladarius Pryor, he was a man amongst boys all night. 25 carries, 271 yards rushing. That's right, 271 yards rushing. Michi had 2 interceptions. He also had a pass deflection that led to an interception. So defensively, Evans played great. Not used to seeing Noah, and I'm not saying Noah struggled. I just don't think that he has the skill players that the receivers that we're used to him having. We're used to him having 3 receivers that's going to get at least 700, 800 yards apiece. He's not in that same predicament anymore, so teams are able to lock in on Barrett Schultz. So for that reason, Lake Mary has now moved O'Shea Faison to wide receiver, the running back, 1,000-yard rusher at Masters Academy last year. At receiver this last game, he had 6 catches for 132 yards and a touchdown. He had a 75-yard touchdown pass, but it's just not the same offense that I'm used to seeing. Noah threw 3 interceptions and had a forced fumble by the Trojans defense. So it was just Evans, and they the real deal, man. They are the real deal.
Baylin, I know you watched this from afar. You were in Georgia, get ready to go to Sanford Stadium.
Dude, you know what? I can't run, right? So I'm here. I want to make it clear. I definitely denied AJ's phone calls. He called me at least 3 times.
I told y'all.
I had Lowood try to call me. Now, Lowood, I didn't even see he tried to call me, but he left me a voicemail. But I think he thought I picked up the phone. But I was hearing the chatter. They all just wanted to talk to me. At the end of the day, guys, I love Coach Odom. I have much respect for Coach Odom. This has nothing to do with the program. He's invited me to go on their campus. I've done quarterback trainings there before. I love what Evans is doing. I made it very clear last year when they were, trending in the right direction. Obviously, this year, picked against them in 2 games. Darion Coleman against Jones, and obviously Noah Grubbs. And both times, Evans showed up and showed out, and they won. And I have to give them their flowers, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like Evans personally because I'm from Oak Ridge, and I definitely threw a little shot at them yesterday. I know AJ texted me talking about what is this, but I put a video of me running a football when I was in high school, and I showed the score when I beat Evans. So that was the only really thing I could lay my head on was the fact that I never lost to him. But again, that has nothing to do with today. I also try to throw a little shot that Noah's only lost to them once this year, and they beat him 3 times. But at the end of the day, guys, Evans dominated Lake Mary, made them look like a middle school football team. And Michi, out of all kids, was the one that really put on a performance. Now, the Jones game, I almost responded because I don't think he did much in that game. But this game, he was the guy. 2 interceptions. The one that he got early was crazy, how he literally took the ball from O'Shea's hands. And the second one literally outjumped a 6'5" freak. So, Michi was a special talent in the youth ranks. I got to watch him West Orlando Jags. I love that when he was at Jones, obviously supporting Jones and seeing him. But the kid's a phenomenal talent. I believe he just committed to Maryland, or there's something with Maryland going on there. Not sure. But the kid's just a phenomenal talent. And then on top of that, you have arguably the best running back in the city, who went absolutely berserk. Those kids were scared of him. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. There was times where I saw him running, and the linebackers were going the opposite way, as if they were trying to see if they're doing play action. They handed the ball off, guys. He's going straight down your throat. So, Evans, phenomenal. I have to say they're the real deal. I honestly think after watching that performance, other than range, nobody dominated Lake Mary like that, especially at Lake Mary. look for Evans to use this as momentum going into the playoffs. I made fun of them last week about their schedule, but good teams put good teams away, and that's exactly what they did. I think they're for real. Honestly, I'm looking at it. I don't see many areas where they really need improvement on. I really don't, AJ. And their secondary is phenomenal. They put no in a box. Obviously, there was a couple drop balls, big-time drops. Number 6 had a post route down the middle, wide open, right in the chest. That could have changed the game. At that point, it was still 14-7. They ended up scoring later on in that drive anyways to tie it up. But I'm telling you, man, just like you said, I think that we're used to seeing so many weapons that Noah has with obviously his talent. They're going to win big games like this. But this year, man, they're really having the fight tooth and nail to really be something. And, dude, Evans exposed it all. I mean, if you want to know how to beat Lake Mary, just watch Evans. I'm telling you, that was complete dominance.
But the only thing is most teams not going to have a 215, 210.
No, I know I get that, but I'm talking about defensively where no one shut down Noah like that. I mean, Stanford did a really good job the week before, and they still came out on top. But, dude, I mean, like I said, I don't know if it really was Noah.
That whole secondary is going to be playing college football at some point in time.
And I did my research after the game. Didn't realize they had like 3 D1 commits already.
Yeah, bro, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
I'm like, hold on.
Michi picked off Noah on the second play of the game, which was Noah's first passing attempt, and he just sat on the hitch and drove on it.
From him. Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man. And I love Noah, and of course, I root for my guys. But dude, Evans looked freaking legit, dude. So I can't say anything more about Evans, but the fact that I did run, I hid, but I'm here and I admit it. And dude, I think you guys are the real deal. And good job, man. You beat Darion, you beat Noah. That's it, dude. I can't say nothing more than go Trojans, baby, Trojans.
I tell you what, it was. Again, it's everybody's time and what they have done, what they're starting to build at Evans and the work that Coach Odom and his program's done. It's pretty big. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We got the great one, Larry Bluestein, joining us right after this. We're going to get right into our Dudes of the Week, and we're going to talk about the new top 10. You're watching the number one show in the state, the Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show. We'll be back right after this. In the world of sports, every move counts. Every decision shapes your future.
At Influencer Counsel, we understand the importance of making the right choices and having wise counsel.
Our team specializes in legal counsel, ensuring every contract is airtight and every deal is in your best interest.
In this new world, financial responsibility is even more important than ever before. We ensure our clients understand this new responsibility and educate them on how to navigate it properly. Taxation obligations, investment opportunities, and purchasing assistance can mean the difference in their short-term and long-term success.
Our branding specialists work tirelessly to build and elevate your personal brand, making sure you stand out on and off the field. Join Influencer Counsel and maximize your opportunities. Legal, financial, branding, legacy. Your future starts here.
All right, welcome back to the Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show right here on Varsity Sports Nation. I am Dan LaForest, filling in for Ontavious McCullough. Welcome back, Baylin Trujillo, AJ Brooks, and the great one, Larry Bluestein. Larry, welcome back to the show. It's been a while, my man.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Listen to you guys battering your Central Florida teams around, and got some dudes there. You got some guys. I kind of like the Dillard's feeling bad because their only ace in the hole was Dr. Phillips, which they crushed in the opening game and then they lost. So I'm telling you. Yeah, everybody down here keeps giving Dillard a hard time because they're going to be 10-0, and we'll see.
Yeah, Blue, I really want to know your take on Dillard because obviously we're seeing American Heritage. They're slipping up on games they don't normally lose. It also affects where Jones is seated. Talk a little bit about Dillard, what you think about that program, what their strengths are, maybe some of their weaknesses. Are they able to compete with the Jones Tigers or American Heritage, St. Augustine? Talk about them because, like you said, I mean, I think they're going to go 10-0. They blew out Dr. Phillips, a 7A program. But I'm hearing chatter that they might beat American Heritage or their strength of schedule is so weak that they haven't been tested. So I don't know where Dillard stands, but obviously you're down in that area. I'd love to know your take on them because obviously me really close to the Jones program, that's kind of one of the teams they're eyeing on.
Yeah, Coach Mincy's done a nice job, Baylin. And but to answer your question, after Friday night, American Heritage is going to be 4-6. So, you kind of look at that situation and then you say to yourself, well, they lost Diabell early in the year, then they had to get another quarterback, and their best running back's been out, and they're okay. I think that the 4A strength this year is going to be teams like St. Augustine, who I've got a chance to see. I think St. Augustine's the best 4A team in the state.
Better than Jones?
I think Choctaw is right behind them. People laugh because it's a panhandle, but Beasley's done a great job. I watched them during the summer at Florida State. They're loaded. They're really, really good. As a friend of mine saw them 2 weeks ago and said they're a Miami type of team. They got great speed. They're big up front. So them with Jones are going to be the guy. They're going to be the type of teams that could end up in Miami. But Dillard's going to probably, and the crazy part of it is the 4A district that has Norland, American Heritage, and the Norland team has been so erratic. I mean, they
didn't they just fire their coach? They just let go of their coach last week.
Yeah, Tyron, and a great guy who was their AD, kind of an internal type of thing. But it doesn't really matter with them. They just, they kind of play their own type of game, and they'll show up one week and then they won't the next. You guys saw it when they played Lake Mary. They had that game won. It just collapsed on them. They beat Cocoa, but yet they lost to Archbishop McCarthy, who all of a sudden, if Norland loses or wins tomorrow night, Friday night against Plantation, got a 4-way tie in the district. And all 4 of those teams made it last year. Now, the reason I'm painting this scenario is the first round, Dillard may get Norland. And truthfully, Dillard doesn't have the athletes that Norland has. They're okay, but they don't have those type of athletes. Plus, the schedule that they played this year hasn't been the greatest schedule in the world. Really, the only team that they played is Dr. Phillips. Other than that, I mean, they're winning games 66-0, and the Ely's way down. They beat them. So yeah, I think from a 4A standpoint, you're looking. I mean, Jones is coming around at the right time, and they're playing real well. And they've had not the schedule that they've had in the past, but actually going to Lake Wales and beating them the way they did was huge because it wasn't only a win, but it was a district win. And to me, and teams like Auburndale got better. So, so at least they got pushed in some of these games this year. And I'm not real as high on Bishop Moore from a state standpoint as you guys are. I think the 2 teams in your area really
Northwestern. So we know that.
Yeah, well, even before that, they've got to get through O'Galley, who's getting much better. And they're road tested, and there's not a lot. I mean, I'm not a big Reigns fanatic because Reigns went 14-0 last year and got their head slapped in the state championship.
But blue. Come on, that Northwestern team is going to beat everybody by that margin.
I don't want to give Northwestern any play because their heads are so big after picking up that win. They don't understand a loss is a loss. It's like I said to them, and they get upset at me because I'm always on Northwestern's throat. But I said, it's like being in a court of law and striking something for the record. You already lost. You lost to Orange Lutheran. It wasn't like they used Patrick Mahomes. It was just a regular dude that they used that they shouldn't have. Just like last year, remember, they were undefeated down the stretch because they didn't have to play Central yet. And although this year, I'm going to hand it to them. I think Northwestern's head and shoulders above everybody else in 3A. In fact, I'm just saying it, and I'm not, and Dan, I'm not a Miami homer by any stretch of the imagination because I see too many other teams, statewide. I mean, 4A also has Tampa Jesuit, and I'll tell you what, they've played as well as anybody. Their only loss was at Valdosta, and it was only by 6 points. And Will Griffin has had a great year.
Incredible year.
And they've got a lot of talent around them. But I'm just saying, you take a look at some of these teams, and I mean, I look at the only drawback about Evans is they're in 6A, and that's the toughest road to state because even in the north part, you have Buchholz and Mandarin and Seffner Armwood and programs like that. And then down south, you have West Boca, who lost to Cardinal Newman last week, but you got West Broward. And I watched Southridge last Saturday night.
Southridge is elite.
Yeah,
Dude,
they are.
They should have beaten Central, man. They were there.
Yeah, no, I watched I was at that game and they got out to a 20-0 lead and they were doing real well. But that's the pitfall, Baylin, of playing a team like Central because they got dudes, you know. I mean, and anytime you're going to kick it to a guy like Jaden Ford, who may be 5'6" and 155 pounds, but the dude's gonna. I mean, you don't want to ever, and that really. In a game like that really dictated the outcome of the game because Southridge went ahead with 2:40 left in the game, and instead of just kicking it, squibbing it down the field, they tried an onside kick. So they didn't get the ball back. Central got it at their 48, and then they went in and scored. But yeah, I mean, I look at this entire state. I think the gap's closing, you know, in 1A. Chaminade has had an okay year, but, you know, they'll lose.
Who gives them the most challenge in 1A, honestly?
To tell you the truth, and I told this to Dan, I'll see that team on Friday night. True North Academy with Zach Katz. He's had an awesome year. I mean, and they beat Jacksonville University Christian. Came down here and they beat them 44-8.
But you know that ain't Chaminade.
So
no. I'm not saying
Chaminade's not what Chaminade's been last couple of years.
No, they're not. I mean, you know, remember in their opening game, you know, they got crushed by St. Francis Academy.
Yeah, but we're talking about a national team.
But Baylin, they usually stand up to those national teams.
No, they do. Of course. But
they usually take Bosco down to the wire. They usually, remember 2-3 years ago, they beat St. Francis Academy. Yeah. I mean, you know, truthfully, Jeremiah Smith's not walking back in that door. So, I mean, but they do have some talent. Remember, they got a 14-year-old freshman.
Yeah, they got a lot of young talent.
Playing quarterback.
And they also beat some quality teams in Miami with that kid.
Yeah, well, their last two games, and you know what? This is what I say. You know, people want to cut down St. Thomas and they want to cut down Gibbons, but Chaminade. But I'll tell you guys, they've played schedules, and listen. St. Thomas's last two games this week they have Heritage, and next week they got Chaminade. Okay, so that's a pretty good way to finish. Same thing with Chaminade. This week they got Cardinal Gibbons, who's kind of on a roll in 2A because 2A is really. 2A to me is done. It's Cardinal Mooney and Jacksonville Bulls. Coco's not beating either of those teams. Not this year. It's just not happening. It's just those, especially Mooney. Mooney's one of these teams, guys, and you know about their sophomore quarterback, Baylin, 6'6", a kid, and they got a mammoth line, and Coach Clark has done a tremendous job with them. But the thing what I was saying is that so Chaminade's got. You know, St. Thomas the last game of the season, which is great for football because you know how it is. You know, I mean, but you guys have a marquee matchup too, as Dan was saying before. You're going to most likely have two undefeated teams playing right there with Boone and Edgewater, and to me, I've watched Edgewater on video 3 times. I'm blown away by the job that Coach Browning has done. Yeah. I mean, you know,
Edgewater to me is the most complete,
unbelievable,
complete team in Central Florida.
I agree.
When they beat NFL Academy the way they did, and the fact that St. Thomas struggled with that same team, that's when I'm like, okay, that's when I knew Edgewater could compete this year.
So Blue, personally, I think Edgewater out of the Central Florida teams has the best chance of winning the state championship.
100%. 100%.
Well, they got a tough road. They
got Lakeland. Now that could be a second round game.
I think Jones should probably be the
Jones too, because when you look at Jones, Zephyr is undefeated, but I don't think Jones fears
Jones should have beat Edgewater.
But here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing about Jones. Their last few opponents have not really tested them, and it's rested a lot of their guys.
Yeah,
but look at their last couple of opponents, though. Lake Wales and Auburndale, which were technically at the top of their classification.
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with you, but 100% what AJ said. Edgewater's got the best chance if you're really looking at the team. But they do have, and Lakeland's played well.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Tech, Gaither,
I'm not
Lakeland. I mean, dude, they got.
I just think Edgewater could. I think Edgewater could shake up that young quarterback when the pressure gets there.
I agree, and take nothing away from Coach Frazier. He's a really good coach, but
Absolutely.
Browning is a dude, man. I mean, you could see when he walked in the door. I mean, this guy, you look at his lineage and this and every, how usually when a new coach comes to town, there's always going to be these guys. Oh well, but I'll tell you what, at media day, all those coaches came up to me and said, "Hey, you know what? This guy, he's got the goods." And you could tell just talking to him. Dude, I mean, he doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low. Yeah. He knows his X's and O's.
Hey, when he first got hired, he took me out to lunch. We went literally his first week he got hired. He took me out to lunch. He's like, "I don't know who you are, but we got to meet because I know you do quarterbacks." I sat down with him and blown away with what he told me. And the first thing he said to me is, "Dude, I don't care about players. I don't care what they look like. All I care about is winning football games. And it could be ugly. It could be bad. But just know I'm coming here to win a state title." And he looked at me and he goes, "Baylin, I know what it takes because I've already won one." He goes, Edgewater's never seen it. They've been there twice. They can't do it. He said, "I'm coming here to win it."
Been there more than twice, my boy.
Huh?
Yeah, no, you're right.
More than twice.
But he inherited some really good football players.
But I was shocked at how convincing he was. I'm like, I don't even know this guy, and he's literally looking me in my eyes like, "Dude, I'm gonna win." He's like, and he looked at me. And he goes, "Either you're gonna help me or not, but I'm gonna win in this city." I'm like, "Oh,
but you know what? Here's the thing.
Can I get a cheeseburger with fries, please?"
You got guys that he inherited also that can play. I mean, obviously, you got a really good quarterback. You got a linebacker who I think is so under the radar. I mean, Miami loves that guy so much.
You talking about JJ?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you got a running back who really should be playing a different position, but he's playing running back, and he's been one of the best. No, and you look up front, and you got those big kids that have had the experience up front, and they have a leadership. I'm telling you, they're gonna be a tough out. I know Lakeland's done well, and actually Lakeland's impressed me when they went out to play De La Salle. They didn't do anything offensively. Yeah, but their defense was just good. Their only game that I saw them in this year, they looked like a youth team against Northwestern. But then again, Northwestern could do that to you. I mean, but they've got dudes, and they played a very competitive schedule. I don't think Specialty Fit Academy is a great team, but they do play some good teams. The only thing that I'm saying. I think the only team that could derail Edgewater is themselves, really, because if they play mistake-free football, they've got cats on both sides of the ball. They have really good coaching. Their coaching really helps them because of the fact that, like you said, AJ, I mean, you got a coach who's been there, done that before. And, football, no matter if it's in Alabama or Florida, it's the same thing. It's just, I mean, you're coaching with what you have. And I think he's proven to everybody. Listen, take nothing away from Andy Johnson. That game shouldn't be a 21-point game really, when you look at it. Boone's done a great job, but do they have that talent to really stay in a 4-quarter game with Edgewater? And Edgewater's going for a perfect season, so they're going to come to play, and that's a huge rivalry. I don't have to tell you.
Where that game at, Baylin? It's at Boone.
It's at Boone.
It's at Boone.
And we have our camp there, so their field's not their playing surface isn't the best. So it's like a minefield.
Guys, I got one more question before we got to move on. Larry, let's talk about the Max Preps wreckings. They've been horrible. They've been absolutely ridiculous.
I love how you call them the wreckings and not the rankings. I think
you're being too nice, Dan. You're being too nice.
Terrible.
Me. I've got to lay it out there in a very, very formidable format, right? They are horrible, and I don't know how this is going to look like. But the part B of that question is this new consolation bracket the FHSA has got out there?
It's terrible.
It's just adding more teams to, so I mean, I guess I don't know who brought up that idea, but don't they have enough teams? They have the all those teams like playing in the what is it? The team the thing that Fort Meade won last year was with a 5-7 record. I mean, it's come on.
SSA and independent leagues, yeah. Dude, I'm telling you. Hey, if all they care about the wins and losses, we're going to go right back to the problem. Everybody's going to schedule the worst teams in Orlando and beat them by 10 and say, we're 10-0. Let's get the first 2 seeds.
Yeah, let's get it after it. Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, because you're in a new cycle next year now. So, so whatever you come into, and there's going to be a lot of teams that have gotten bigger, a lot of teams that have gotten smaller. They're going to move in and out of these districts. And, they're, one of the teams I know from what I hear is New Orleans got bigger. So they're going to probably move up into the 5 or even 6A. They move into 5A and they, get their stuff together.
Now, here's a key figure. I don't know if you guys know this. Orange County has lost 7,000 students this year.
Yeah,
homeschool stuff.
What did you do some of their teams? Where they went, Dan?
Private schools.
Yeah,
homeschool, private school.
Well, that's what you guys.
Whoever you want to.
I'm going to tell you something, and because you've seen.
My point is, Larry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but my point is. What do these schools actually drop down because of enrollment size?
Yeah, well, that's going to happen.
And when's the last time Boone's ever been open enrollment? I'll tell you that. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, too. Come Friday night, you're going to have a team from Miami who has had just a tremendous 10 to 15 year run. They beat a Popka in the state championship. Miami Columbus could finish 3-7. 3-7. And that's because a lot of their kids that they used to get are going homeschool now because you can't get like Bishop Moore, like Lake Highland Prep or those schools like that. Or even like you guys, the First Academy. You can't go. Well, I don't know what First Academy, but I know a lot of the private schools, they can't take homeschool kids. Yeah. They can't take them because, I mean, they got a good price tag that they've, like look at American Heritage. It costs $49,000 a year to go there. So they're the only way you're ever. And here's the thing too, Chaminade, Columbus, all these teams, all these schools are having to kind of work with these athletes because what they're doing is their last year, they're transferring out so they could go in January. Because if you go in January from a Bishop Moore or one of those schools like that, you're leaving 10, 12 grand on the table. And those people don't care. The people who have money and administrative, they don't care about sports. Give me that 12 grand. We got to pay those teachers. We got to pay these people. And that's the only thing. Like you look at a lot of these private schools, and that's why a school like Columbus is hurting. St. Thomas has even come down a peg or two because of the fact that they can't have kids graduate early. Chaminade's worked with the kids. And, Jeremiah Smith went in early to Ohio State and guys like that. So they're letting them do it because he knows, Damian Jones knows if he doesn't do it, they're going to go to now MacArthur, which is right down the road. They're starting to and they're a public school. They're kind of like starting to hit momentum. And that's the thing, there's not a place in this country because you look at some of the top public schools and most of the public schools, the real good public schools are suburb schools. They're not inner city schools. Jones is kind of an exception to the rule, but for 30 years, Jones was horrible. Yeah, I mean, it took a long time for them to get in that situation, but you're so under enrolled in schools like Norland and Northwestern and Miami Central and Booker T. Washington and Miami Edison that you can get anybody in there. See, you can't do that in some of the suburb schools. Some of the, that's why you look in Orlando. What suburb school in Orlando really has the goods right now? Lake Mary did, but now they're kind of dwindling down a little bit. Lake Brantley, are they Is this a 1-year deal? Is this a 2-year deal? When Kruzik leaves, does it go back to 2-8? That's what I'm saying. You're in those type of cycles, and it's not just there, AJ.
Is it statewide? You think it's statewide?
It's statewide. You look in the Jacksonville area now, Mandarin's doing really well.
Right.
And that's because they're getting a lot of inner city schools, because the spillover from Rains, because everybody can't go to Rains.
Right.
Because remember, Rebalt's not what they used to be. Mm-hmm. Trinity Christian is 4 and 5.
God.
So a lot of these. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So the shift is really on in a lot of these areas. And you look at Tampa, St. Petersburg. St. Pete, Lakewood, so they had a really good 8-0 start, but you knew deep down they were playing teams like Seminole and all those teams like that. So when they played a team with a heartbeat, that was it. And Armwood is, quote unquote, is a suburb school. It's not in Tampa. It's outside of Tampa. So they're getting all those kids in that area, like Wharton and Gaither. Those type of teams are starting to get better, but it's inner city schools in a lot of these areas that, like you said, here's Evans. Evans is and Odom. And it's not by mistake. I've seen Odom the last 3 years, Danny. I told you they're at USF, they're at Florida, they're at FSU.
Taking them on the road.
They're everywhere. They come down to Miami. They go to FAU. They go to FIU because they know that's the only way. What you put in April and May and June is what you get out now. And you look at the schools like that are doing well now, like Jones. Jones is everywhere. Baylin. They try to get Darian to everything. He was down in Miami, for that.
They won it almost 3 years in a row in Miami, the 7-on-7.
Yeah. So, but that's what I'm trying to say. So those teams are succeeding. Edgewater, because it was Browning's first year, he had to rely on some of the other people to say, hey, listen, we got to go to Florida, or because UCF had nothing this year. Because they had the construction, so they really had nothing. So the options were to, when I saw Winter Park a couple of times, and I heard you before. They're not the best 4-4 team. They would get whitewashed by the first academy, I'm sure. But how many times have we said over the last 3 years that the reason why Winter Park loses in the first round is because they play nobody during the regular season? And that's just a fact. And it's not taking shots. It's just the reality of things. And that's the only way you're going to win. And I think, you said it, Dan, with Daz, up at Lake Howell. I think he's got the right attitude. It's just that now he's got to get that constant flow of athletes in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so much going on there. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We got to get right into our dudes of the week and our new
go. I don't want to do that.
You're watching Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show. Blue's going to stay with us. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. All right, welcome back to the Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show. I'm Dan LaForest. God, it feels so good to sit in this seat again. AJ Brooks, Baylin Trujillo, and Larry Bluestein. Let's get right into our dudes of the week presented by the Influencer Council. Let's talk about Ladarius D4 Pryor, AJ. 25 carries, 271 yards, and 2 touchdowns against Lake Mary this past week.
Yes, sir. He was a man child, man amongst boys. Baylin mentioned he saw linebackers running away from contact. That's because early on in the game, he made them pay for it. So late as the game wore on, they had business decisions to make. And 271 yards later and a 40-14 victory. Congrats, Defo, on offensive dude of the week.
Baylin?
Said it best, man. The kid was dominant. They couldn't stop him. So it's a big-time win for Evans.
Larry, this is a guy, we talk about Blue Stream recruiting. We talk about everything that you do to help kids get promoted. This is a guy that really has not gotten a lot of attention, considering the fact that he has the size, he has that rushing power, and produces.
And he's only done it in 2 years. He's the leading rusher, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's started 2. He played 3, but yeah.
But they had a pretty good back before him too. So
yeah, they did.
The little guy who wasn't terrible.
JD Hardy. Both of them went over 1,000 yards. They had 2,000-yard rushers. Yeah. Yep.
All right, guys. Our defensive dude of the week is out of St. Cloud. Bryce Williams had 3 interceptions. 2 of them were pick 6, a forced fumble recovery, 7 tackles. He has 9 interceptions for 135 yards on the year in their win over, or had 9 interceptions. Was that for the year, guys? For 135 yards?
I don't know, but I just know that as I'm at the Lake Mary Evans game, Michi with the 2 interceptions, I say, oh yeah, Michi hands down defensive dude of the week. And then Saturday, reports come in and we start seeing stats. 3 interceptions, 2 pick 6s. The guy had it's 9 receptions. That's what that is. Dan.
Oh, so, 9 receptions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not only did he have 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, he also had 9 catches for 135 yards. Dude just had himself a day, man. So
against Toho,
man.
Against Toho.
Guess what, guys? They're district champs for the first time in a long time. So massive, massive win for St. Cloud.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to Coach Short. What an incredible season. Larry, that's another program that we've kind of watched grow over the last couple of years with Coach Short at the helm.
Yeah, exactly. And especially the fact that, anybody in that area, Gateway, all those areas like that, usually Osceola comes in there and swoops down on them, and they've been able to keep those kids. And a testament to him. Before you go on, Maurice Drayton wrote a thing about Dillard playing a weak schedule. Well, the other day I sent this out to one of the coaches. Dillard's opponent's record is 27-53. Okay, so that'll kind of tell you,
Yeah. And AJ, you talked about Michi. Let's also talk about Danny Odom for TFA. Had 2 interceptions and a safety. That had an outstanding game. I mean, he was lights out the other night also for the First Academy. All right, special teams due to the week. Keelan Gonzalez for the Cocoa Tires was 3 of 3 PATs, 2 for 2 on field goals, and their big win over the Villages, AJ.
Yep, shout out to Mr. Gonzalez on a perfect night, kicking for Coco. Proved to be pivotal for them, helping them. He scored 9 points himself, so yeah, shout out to him.
May have been the leading scorer there.
Was he? Well, no, the running back. I think Jay Scott had 2 touchdowns, but he was up there with him. So
gotcha.
Well, he outscored. If it wasn't for the running back Scott, I mean, he could have beat the Villages himself 9-6. So. Great job to that. Also, shout out to Aiden Pouncey with the big punt return touchdown.
Yeah.
The game over Coe. I think that's a mention right there. But yeah, man, this like I said, he himself beat the Villages.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's an amazing job. All right, guys, let's get right into what you've been waiting for, the new top 10. And let's see what you guys came up with. Let's talk about
top 10.
Number 10, South Lake is now in there at 7-1. Osceola goes to number 9 at 6-2. O'Galley at 6-2 at number 8. Number 7 is DeLand, undefeated at 7-0. 6 is Jones, followed by West Orange at 5 at 7-1. Boone is at 4, undefeated at 8-0. Evans is at 3 after the big win over Lake Mary. Bishop Moore's number 2 at 8-0, and Edgewater's number 1 at 9-0. TFA falls out, Lake Mary falls out. Who else falls out, guys?
Those are the 2 big ones that came out of our rankings, which opened the door for O'Galley, Osceola, South Lake, and everybody else kind of moved up. But those are the guys that are on our bubble, and they continue to win. I think they deserve to be in the top 10. Now, South Lake might not have been one of my choices. I thought Lake Mary probably still should have been probably at 10, but they got beat so bad that, we were giving other teams some shout-outs for doing well, and South Lake has been that team. So great job to South Lake entering in our top 10. But I think
Brad Lord's done. What a great job Brad Lord's done. You got to give him credit.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're way out in the middle of nowhere. So, it's not like they have those kids right around the block to choose from. But, yeah, I mean, if anything else, and you're probably right, if they played against TFA, they probably wouldn't win. But You got to give him credit for being what he's done. And certainly, I think DeLand has a really, really nice shot. Darlington's done a great job. And you never know if them and Vero will meet and maybe in a game that could send the winner to state against Venice, because I don't think anybody in the South is going to beat Venice. So.
AJ, what about anybody that says that TFA should be in the top 10, even though the 4 losses have been against national teams?
I mean, I can respect it, and I feel them. Realistically, TFA would be possibly, because I'm not going to say that about Edgewater, but TFA should beat every team on this list realistically. But at 4-4, I mean, like, God, dog, man, they keep losing.
4-4, 2 of the losses being up big and losing.
Yeah,
and then just the way they lost Friday, being up 24 points and kind of choking, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just me personally, I felt like it was time to give a team like Southlake some credit. That's a team before Coach Lord was there, was 0-10. They went to the playoffs last year. I just thought it was time to show them some love. Osceola is coming around at the right time. EG, Lord forbid if they had Joseph Allen at quarterback, I think that'll be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the whole state.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. And they got a big game this week against undefeated Delray Atlantic. So
that's going to be
we're going to talk. We're going to talk about those big games here in a minute, but I don't disagree. I think we had talked about last week in our group chat was the winner of Southlake East Ridge deserved to get into that spot at some point. But I think when you start breaking down every one of these teams, TFA is not going to be in the playoffs. They're playing on a different level. It's kind of like the argument I think, Larry, we talked about. Why is IMG even ranked in the state?
Yeah,
and it just doesn't make sense. Like IMG is number 1 in the state. It doesn't matter. They're not playing at the same level. I think TFA's got some big games coming up. They got Hun Academy coming up this Friday night. Then they go on the road.
Quarterback, Baylin, big time quarterback for Hun.
Yeah, and
one of the best in the country.
I tell you, they're going through their own process. We talked about Jones. I think Jones, I agree with Larry. I think Jones is sitting really pretty. Again, I think the ability that they've had over the last several weeks playing, some of the opponents has really helped a lot of their guys stay rested. They're healthy. And God forbid, they've got a kicker this year. So that's been an element, right, that Jones hasn't had in the past. But they've lost some close games because of that. I think there's no argument that Edgewater is probably the most complete team that we've seen at all. And
I don't know. Evans pretty close.
Head to toe. I think Evans is last year's Osceola. I think they're that team that is going to make a push just because they are who they are and they're going to do it really well. West Orange is really the X factor, and I think we saw this last year. They've lost.
What a great job he does, Dan, every year, and he doesn't get the props that he deserves.
Absolutely,
because he kind of gets buried with all those other teams, and they all know he's going to have to probably play Venice down the road. But Thompson's a great coach. He's done a great job. He's got good personnel. And think about it. They lost a marquee player like Dillard, and they still find a way to kind of replace him at quarterback with a young kid in Chung, who, Baylin, you love him. And What do you think,
I think the
AJ?
story here really, guys, is, again, I want to give a lot of props. When was the last time Boone was 8-0? And
it's been
Boone
a while.
Historically has had.
When I played there back in the day, 2000.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
When you played there or you played against them?
No, I played there. I played.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
When 2007, we went to state and got spanked by Northwestern. We were 14-0 before that.
Oh, I remember that. That's right. You guys actually drew. That was pretty good. That was a good crowd.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to take a really quick break. When we get back, the four of us are going to go over the 8 big games in Central Florida. You're watching the Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show right here on Varsity Sports Nation. We'll be back right after this.
It's a simple idea. Can you leverage some of the biggest events in the world to change the life of a family down the street? How can a game here benefit someone here, or here, or here? At FCS, we organize events you love and use them to benefit the community we love. It's about more than a bowl game, more than football, more than a stadium. It's about impact on our neighbors and the next generation. Our roots run deep. And now we're branching out. Here, you're part of a story unlike any in the country about what we can do when we work together to go for the win. Bolder, brighter, stronger, together. Let's go win.
All right, welcome back to the Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show right here on Varsity Sports Nation. My name is Dan LaForest. Glad to be back. AJ Brooks, Baylin Trujillo has run to get a glass of water, and the great Larry Bluestein. We're going to get right into this. And Larry, you brought this game up a little while ago. You've got O'Galley against Delray Beach Atlantic. This is a big marquee game. This is a defining game, AJ, for the Commodores as they make that playoff push.
Yeah, man, I love EG, man, but Atlantic's so good. I'm just not. I don't know if EG's gonna be able to beat them with the Wildcat style offense, because Atlantic, they can do a little bit of both. They can throw, they can pass. I mean, they can run. Where's the game at? Is it in EG?
Atlantic. Atlantic's hosting it, and you know what, AJ? I saw Atlantic 2 weeks ago play Creek, and the final score was 33-30. If Creek had any type of kicking game, every time they kicked off, they gave Atlantic the ball at midfield or in their own territory, they would have won that game. So that's why I say O'Galley's got a special teams. They got a kicker. If they can keep them deep and make the young quarterback's really nice for Atlantic. He's done a tremendous job. Remember, they had a kid that started for 3 years for them last year. Their wide receivers at NC State now. But Coach Murray's done a great job, and Coach Sands has done a tremendous job. I agree. It's going to be a really good one.
I can't go against my boys, man. I'm EG all day. I love EG with or without my boy Joe Allen. I love Captain Rowe, Tay Johnson, both exes, Corbin and Lorenzi. I got EG.
Baylin?
Yeah, I've done some research here. I like EG and their roster. I love what they're doing, especially without Joseph Allen. But for the show's sake, I'm actually going Atlantic Eagles for the win here. So
you got to make up some ground here, buddy. So
yeah, I'm going Atlantic here. I mean, they are a good football team. So
and Atlantic's got West Boca next week, so they could be looking ahead.
Yep.
Larry, you going to make a pick on this?
Yeah, I think that Atlantic will win the game. Even though I just watched them the last week, it's going to be close. So it's going to be coming right down to 4 quarters. It's going to be really good. But I like both teams. I just think that you said, without a true quarterback, if O'Galley had a true quarterback, and they could win this game. But the whole thing is going to be is if they could pin Atlantic back and make them go to long field, it's going to be I think it's going to be a great game. But remember, Atlantic, the last game is West Boca, so they can. And that's everything to them.
Go on, EG.
All right, guys. We talked about some undefeated teams nobody has talked about, and here's 2 of them right here. Innovation. Leroy Kennard has done an amazing job in year 2 out of the box. He is sitting in 8-0. And they're going into Windermere to play Coach Ricky Smith and those Windermere was undefeated last year, guys.
I was going to say, they haven't lost in a while.
They got some things rolling over there. AJ, who do you like?
Who do I love? Windermere. Respect to Coach Kennard, everything he's done and doing that innovation. But this game is going to get ugly, I think. I think Windermere is going to dominate this game. I think that out of the schools, I don't even know what division is called, but whoever the teams that Windermere played, they like the best team. So I'm not gonna pick against Windermere. I got Windermere.
You know what I really miss that you guys didn't do this year is that separate private / small team poll, and maybe we could take a look at that.
Yeah.
Because there's so many great storylines here, and this is one of them. I applaud, and I called him. I called Lonnie Flores, and I said, if nobody's told you, I applaud you for having the foresight to give some of these teams that just can't compete at that other level the opportunity to win and to build confidence and school spirit and community involvement. And that's what this game is about. And that's what we've been missing in high school football for over a decade now, is exactly that. And Larry and I are very, very hot on that. So, I love what we're seeing.
Can I
Baylin?
Hey,
Baylin a shot.
Baylin?
Who you got, Bay?
So this is the game I'm going to be at. I got to go see my boy Braylon Sanchez in action. He's a senior. I'm excited. He's having a phenomenal year. I believe over 20 touchdowns. Not many picks. I mean, the kid's playing flawless. The defense is great. Obviously, they have Bro now, who's a Florida commit. This is the Alabama of the independent league, in my opinion. They haven't lost in 2 years. Innovation, what a great storyline with Kennard there. Just recently started training their quarterback. Their quarterback is 6'4", got a smooth and elite arm.
He's putting up good numbers.
Yeah,
Baylin.
he is. He is. He's thrown 16 touchdowns. The kid looks really good in person. I think, Dan, you were at the training this past week in my training. He was there.
Yeah.
Very, very good-looking kid. But I'm telling you, Ricky has something special at Windermere. I don't think they lose a game. This is the Independent League Championship right here.
Nice.
So the winner of this will crown themselves champs. Obviously, Windermere got the ring last year. I'm thinking since it's at home, Windermere is going to win in a blowout fashion, and I look forward to being there.
Yeah, I think Windermere wins also. And remember, this is Innovation's only second year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we remember not this past year, but the year before, they were the first team up on Media Day.
Yep.
The very first team that came up, and you
By design.
Yeah.
By design.
Yeah, by design. But yeah, what a great job. You can't say enough. I mean, 8-0, come on. But yeah, you're right. Ricky's got it going. He's I know I'm not telling nothing, but I think Ricky's just waiting for that one job to open up.
All right, guys, the Battle of the Lakes, the big rivalry that hasn't been a rivalry the last 5-6 years. Lake Mary goes into Lake Brantley, two of the top quarterbacks in the state, if not definitely Central Florida, but the state, and Noah Grubbs and Jackson Stetcher. Right now, Lake Brantley 6-2, Lake Mary 5-3. Baylin, I'm going to start with you because this is going to be one heck of an offensive showcase between Garrett Kruzek and Adam Donnelly.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. I think that's what the city expected. But you saw the two losses that Lake Brantley has were against Haggerty in a blowout and Seminole in a blowout. And that's both in their district. When it comes to the trenches, I think that's where Lake Mary is going to dominate. If they just play bullied football and they put your boy back at running back and they just go straight downhill, you're going to see a 21-7, 28-7 victory by Lake Mary. I just think that up front, those guys are much bigger. They're better. They're more experienced. I love what Kruzek is doing at Lake Brantley, but the pieces around Jackson, who's literally 90% to 100% of their complete offense productivity, I just think that they kind of isolate him in a box. I do think he goes off a little bit, but I don't think it's in a way where they're going to really shock Lake Mary. And I do believe Lake Mary bounces back from this Evans shellacking. And I think they do become victorious at Lake Brantley. The Lake Brantley lost to Haggerty in a bad fashion, 24-7. That's when I'm like, man, I just don't know. And I talked to Kruzek. He is talking about his, the front. It's tough, right? It's tough to really get that in his first year. But obviously over time they'll get better. But I just think as of right now, when you roster to roster, I think Lake Mary is the better team, and they're just going to bully them kind of like Seminole and Haggerty did.
AJ?
Yeah, I agree. I think experience plays a major factor in this ball game. I think that Lake Mary, they've been there the past 2 to 3 years, so some of those younger guys now are juniors and seniors, whereas Lake Brantley, a lot of the better guys are coming from the Masters Academy. So just a tidbit, you mentioned moving the running back O'Shea back to running back, the wide receiver. I think this is going to be a game that's very personal for him. He was a 1,000-yard rusher at the Masters Academy, and a lot of people wonder why didn't he go to Lake Brantley with Kruzek and Jackson. I don't want to go into that situation, but I just know that it's going to be a very personal game for him. So I think with his play and obviously with Noah, I like Lake Mary to get.
And guys, just to let you know, Noah is 169 yards away from breaking 10,000 all-time career yards in 3.5 years. So
nice.
169 yards. He's going to break it against Lake Brantley this Friday night. I'm calling that for sure. And he will eclipse 10,000 passing yards this Friday.
Good for him. Congratulations.
You know what's interesting is Jackson, this is his third year starting at the varsity level. Does his stats at the SAA level transfer over to the actual record?
They do. Yeah.
Okay. So
that means they're gonna throw for 15,000 yards then.
Oh, he'll be in that Israel.
Yeah.
category.
He's
got
going
two
to
nice
end up
rings,
having.
too. He got two nice
He's going
rings.
to. He's got a year because remember, Noah.
Well, you
didn't
better get
start.
talent around him every year.
Actually, fun fact, right? I actually called the game. Noah's first start was the second half.
Yeah.
Of this game, his freshman.
Wow.
Larry, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Lake Mary as well, and I was going to say before AJ said the player that didn't go, to Lake Brantley from the Masters Academy is going to be the difference in the game. I think that he's, whether he plays, like you said, whether he plays running back or wide receiver, I think that Noah's going to look for him and get him open in space. The kid's really, really talented.
Yeah, there's two players. Oakley as well, committed to
Oakley,
Harvard.
that's right, Oakley too.
He went to Lake Mary as well, big time target. So
yeah,
look for it.
All right, Seminole. This is a big game. Seminole at 4-4 is going to Haggerty, who has showed both teams have shown a lot of improvement the last 2 to 3 weeks, especially Seminole. Obviously, with their win over Lake Mary, 4-4, 5-3.
Wait, nobody beat Lake Mary, but
I'm sorry. That was actually a close game though. But again, yeah. Listen, we've seen a lot of improvement with Seminole from where they started at the beginning of the season. But I see this as a really big matchup. Where in the past, I can't say that we've said that.
Dan, you know better to put losses on Noah and Darion. That boy will not take any of that. He will not tolerate that.
No, but, it was a fact. Both these teams are the reason why Lake Mary's district champs.
Yeah, but I like Seminole, man. I know Seminole is, I think ever since Chat went to quarterback, I think that has helped improve just the whole feel of the ball club. I think that they feed off of him at quarterback. They won a tough game last week in overtime. And I think I love Haggerty, but I just think that Seminole is going to be too tough for him. Too tough.
Yeah, and major shout out to Jason Williams coming in. Jay Will coming in the fourth quarter when Chap went down and threw a beautiful touchdown to go into overtime off his back foot. Complete elite throw. Where's that been all year?
Is he lefty?
No, he's righty. He was going to his left though. Yeah, he started backpedaling. Special throw that sent Seminole to overtime, ultimately winning against Spruce Creek in a big-time win for Seminole, because that could have been the difference between making a playoff with their resume and not. So this is a massive matchup, especially with Haggerty beating Lake Brantley, which I didn't see that coming. I'm going to go Seminole here. I think Seminole rolls Haggerty. I think Haggerty's good. They're 5-3, but they're not the 5-3 that's going to beat Seminole. And I think Seminole rolls Friday night.
Uncharacteristic year for Seminole. I don't think they've had a team like this in a long, long time where they were teetering on 500. That's for sure. I mean, I watched their game against Monarch earlier in the year, and they didn't play very well. Like you said, I mean, I think that they got this one out. They need this one just to, just for the confidence of the team. They got a lot of young kids too. And so they'll get some kids coming back.
Guys, the winner of this game could represent the playoffs, one of the last seeds in the playoffs, because Haggerty beat Lake
that's
Brantley,
why I'm saying
they have to win this game. They have
because you let me know, and I don't know, but I think it's been a long time since the last time Seminole didn't make the playoffs. So it's and their fans aren't standing for that for long. So I think they win this game.
Yeah, and for the record, that was my brain moving 100,000 miles to make the mistake that Lake Mary lost to Seminole. But I think Lake Mary's won the last 4 games against Seminole. Yeah. So that rivalry is still intact. It was still a good game. And probably a little bit closer than we thought it would be beginning of the season. That's why you got to give a lot of credit to these guys putting these teams together.
Seminole, I'll tell you what, man, Calhoun gets those guys ready to play every week regardless. Good. So they're going to blow it out.
Good coach.
Absolutely. I mean, when you start taking a look at teams at the beginning of the year and you start seeing how they got to move a kid down to quarterback that hasn't played a quarterback since he was in Pop Warner. It's just amazing.
Ask Malachi Tony about that.
Yeah, right. He kind of saved American Heritage season last year.
Yeah,
they don't have American Heritage doesn't have Malachi.
Jones has a ring right now if Tony's not a quarterback.
All right, here's another big one. This is actually Evans at Oviedo this Friday night. Obviously, this is a marquee game. Obviously, Oviedo has had an outstanding season. Evans is coming to town. That's going to be a packed house in Oviedo, Baylin.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I'm overlooking Oviedo, to be honest with you. That looking at their season, wow. They're quiet 6-2 because we don't really talk about them. But man, great job to them because honestly, I didn't know. And looking at this is the district championship. Both these teams are undefeated in their district. This is for everything Friday night. And I'm not going against Evans. I can tell you one thing: Evans is going to blow out Oviedo. It might be worse than Lake Mary, which might be hard to do. But Evans right now, dude, I'm sold. I told them before I'm sold, and I'm a believer. I think Evans rolls Friday night.
AJ,
historically, Oviedo is a 10-win ball club with Coach O. But just like Winter Park, historically, Oviedo typically loses first round. And some people say that they don't play tough enough schedules. I think that this Evans team is the real deal. I'm not sure that Evans is going to beat them worse than they beat Lake Mary because Evans was on one last week. But I do know that Evans will dominate this game, or I believe they will. I don't think that they're going to have anyone to tackle D4 once again. The quarterback position is shoring itself up at Evans. I like the Trojans to win convincingly by at least 3 scores. I like them to go on the road, punch Oviedo in the mouth.
Hey man, that's Lake Mary, dog. They beat them by 3
Yeah,
scores.
you're right. Yeah, so I mean, I love Evans to win this ball game easy.
Yeah.
Blue.
Well, you take a look at Oviedo and their 2 losses, obviously. Bishop Moore scored 68 points on them, and they lost to Lake Brantley, who scored 49 points on them. So in those 2 losses, they gave up over 100 points. I just don't think that they're going to be able to slow down Evans at all.
All right, guys, let's move on. How about Lake Nona going to Toho? This is, you think about this. Coach Paradiso coached at Lake Nona for a number of years. This is a game that's going to be very interesting. I'm going to start with you, Baylin, because you've got Sabi Masaic, the quarterback, who's record-setting with Toho. But Lake Nona's defense has really been playing well lately. It's the offense that's really starting to get going. I'm going to start with you on this.
AJ, I almost want to bet any one of you guys, based on what I've seen, that Toho does not score this game. I think Lake Nona rolls, especially with Luke Ramsey at quarterback. They figured out offensively, and with that defense, which is loaded with D1 talent, I'm telling you, Toho does not score a point in this matchup. It might be 38-0. I love Diso. Honestly, he's one of the best offensive minds here in the city. Honestly, that's one of the 3 schools I'd love my son eventually to play for or coach to play for if he's able.
He's just wanting to throw the ball all the time.
Exactly. Of course, who wouldn't? Look at Sabi's numbers. It's insane. But at the end of the day, when it talks about score predictions, Lake Nona is going to whip Toho Friday night.
AJ?
I mean, I agree with you. I think they're going to beat them. I think they're going to dominate. But when you pass the ball this much, it's hard to say that you ain't going to score the ball. So I don't see them not scoring.
Look at Lake Nona's secondary.
I'm with you. I see a couple.
They had Duke Brown, maybe, but
maybe
You're talking about the secondary. How about that young man that is coming off the edge and DeAnthony Lafayette committed
to LSU. So when you got an LSU commit coming off the edge, and then you have an All-American Charles Woodson Jr. in the back end, I love everything about Lake Nona in this game. They're gonna dominate this game for sure.
Larry?
Yeah, Toho's. Their defense isn't going to be able to win this game. They've given up 40 points 6 times this year. So it's I think Lake Nona, and it's a rivalry. It's a local, a lot of people know each other. It's not far. They're not far from each other. Sabi's had a great career. He really has. I mean, hats off to what he's done, in a program like that where he really was the only guy for the first couple of years. And, But I think Lake Nona wins this game. I agree with Baylin. I think it's going to be big.
All right, guys. Big matchup. Western Orange County. Ocoee is going to host West Orange. I mean, again, we've talked about West Orange. We've talked about what they've done, what they've overcome, what they continue to do, how they continue to build. Ocoee has had injuries. They've had some struggles here the last few weeks. AJ, I'm going to start with you on this.
Man, Dan, last year when we talked about Coach of the Year, I told you who my vote was. And damn it, if I had to vote again, he'll be up there. He probably wouldn't win because of some of the other coaches. But when you think about how West Orange just finds a way to win, the guy lost his most dynamic player a week before the season. He headed off the TFA. But some kind of how West Orange finds a way to win. If you think about it, they had the same scenario last year. All those kids left to go to TFA. West Orange still had a successful season last year. For that reason, I like West Orange. It's just something about West Orange. They win ball games, whether it be defensively, offensively, with AJ Chung at the helm. You got D2 leading the charge at DB. He gets an interception, seems like every week. I just like West Orange to win this game. Okoye, a lot of talent, but I don't know if they could beat a team established like West Orange who knows their identity and knows how to win these tough games. So for that reason, I'm going to take West Orange.
Baylin?
I'll tell you one name, and this is the reason. AJ Chung, my boy.
Great.
28 touchdowns this year. Unbelievable what he's doing for West Orange. He's the reason why they are going to spank Okoye. Now, I love Okoye, love Tyson, but, man, they're hurting injury-wise. They still don't have an identity on offense. Tyson seems to be doing everything. West Orange is too good to just be playing around with these guys at this time in the season. West Orange rolls, and A.J. Chung throws another 3, 4, 5 touchdowns and continues to light it up, and he's currently the leading passer in the entire state. So continue to just give the ball to A.J., and that's why West Orange is winning for your boy, Coach Thompson.
Yeah. Chung got 32 touchdowns, 1 interception.
32 touchdowns. Insane.
Hey, listen, as much as A.J. is going to influence this game, you know what wins this? West Orange hasn't given up a point in 17 quarters, guys. 17 quarters. They have 4 shutouts in a row. So, and I know it's innovation or like Buena Vista and schools like that, but still, they haven't given up a point in 17 quarters. That's what wins it. I don't think Okoye scores, but maybe once.
You throw a Popke in there too, Blue.
Yeah, they shut them out too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been dismal.
In this day and age isn't the biggest thing, but still.
Yeah.
My bad, Dan. I had to.
It's all right.
I know. My
AJ's only feeling good because his top 2 teams are 1 and 2 right now.
Stay off Edgewater Drive, boy. I'm telling you.
Yeah, these young guys, man, they got 2 high schools they pulled for, man. I was all APK. It didn't matter what happened. All right, game of the week, guys. This is a big one. Osceola is going to host Lake Wales. AJ, you and I talked about this earlier in the week. This is going to be a heck of a game, and I'm going to start with you on this.
Dang, you going to start with me? I don't want to. I was going to listen to Blue. I was going to pick. Let Blue go first. I'm going to pick after Blue because Blue got all the knowledge. Man.
Well, no. There is a special reason why Blue does not say anything.
They tune into you guys. They don't tune into me.
All right. So, looking at this game, man, I think this game could go either way. I think that the biggest difference for me is Lake Wales quarterback play isn't the same as they had last year. And I think that they take that boy for granted. They had themselves a winner last year at quarterback, and the production is just not the same. You look at the quarterback situation at Osceola, it's been like that for a while, so they can adjust. The game is at Osceola. It's in Osceola. That's a hard place to win for that reason. I'm going to give Osceola the slight edge to get the victory. But if Lake Wales was to go in there and win, I wouldn't be surprised. But since it's at home, I'll go with Osceola.
Baylin?
I love that reason. I love what AJ said. I think that because of the history here, Osceola knows how to win when they don't have a quarterback. But I'm going to go Lake Wales here. I think Lake Wales comes into Osceola, and I think they beat them. I think they have way too much talent at quarterback. Even the young kid that they have playing now, he's a special talent. They've got a receiver in Purdy, absolute freak of nature. He's going to score a couple times. I think their defensive line is legit. I think they have a couple DBs that can match Osceola. I think that because their ability to score is why they win this game. Osceola obviously with a great defense, but they just can't seem to score. They like to control the clock. But at the end of the day, this is what's going to separate. They might win 21-14, 21-7, but I like Lake Wales to actually win this game Friday night at Osceola, which is hard to do.
Yeah. I like both reasonings, AJ. You came up with really good reasoning. And I'll tell you the thing that you got to like, and Osceola is not going to pull away from you. I mean, you look at, they only beat Vieira by a handful of points, but their defense, I think their front seven, what was it, by 3?
Yeah, 13-10 was the final.
Yeah, 13-10. So when you take a look at the defense that Osceola has, their front seven's really, really good, very active. I don't think that Lake Wales is going to be able to throw on him because he's going to be under pressure a lot. I think this thing comes down to a 17-4, maybe even an overtime game. I think Osceola wins 17-14.
Yeah, if we're in our Hard Rock app right now, I think I would have this at Osceola minus 1.5 with an over-under at 49.
Pick 'em. This would be a pick 'em.
Yeah, it would be.
All right, guys, that's all we got. We actually took this thing a little longer tonight. Big thank you to Larry Bluestein for joining us.
I appreciate you guys having me.
For Dan LaForest, AJ Brooks, Baylin Trujillo, you're watching the Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show. Have a great week, and we will see you next week.
Peace.
Miami stuff.
Peace.
The GOAT right here.
Varsity Sports Nation. Unleash